Hello, everybody. Ooh, excuse me. Just had little tea stuck in my throat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of June, and I'm coming to you live or on the replay, wherever you're watching, with another energy focus / mindset matters video. And I was really inspired this week to talk about this topic, which is the zone, the language facilitation zone. And I decided to use my energy focus video to talk about it. And on this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why language facilitation zone is the secret to your language facilitation success and finding more spoken language, hearing more new spoken language, which is really what you're trying to do here, why the language facilitation zone is important. And then I'm going to dig into the energy around that situation by talking about the astrology. I'm going to talk about 3 videos from my Waves of Communication platform, which will help you learn more, dig in, and utilize the language facilitation zone. So I'm not going to give you all those strategies on this video. I'm going to lead you to more learning. That's how important this topic is. And then I've got my language facilitation inspiration cards, and we're going to pull cards. So if you are watching and you're interested in sharing in the energy and talking about the language facilitation zone and having me pull a card for you, you can make a comment on this video. Regardless, I'll be pulling a card or 2 at the end, depending on how I feel about things, so that you can get some energy focus for those of you who are watching on the replay. So again, welcome to everybody. And what we're going to be starting out with, again, is this idea of the language facilitation zone. And you can see on this graphic that I use 2 little graphics on here to demonstrate what I'm talking about. And it's 2 things. Number 1, it's actually connecting with the late talker, doing things that you want to do together. That's what that little blue graphic is, where you're alerting them and they're finding new things that you would like them to explore. And that happens in the language facilitation zone. When the kids get it, when you say, look at this, and they get it, that happens in the language facilitation zone. And then the other thing that happens in the language facilitation zone is this idea where you see in this yellow and red graphic where literally what you're thinking is the same thing that the other person is thinking, and one of you can say it out loud while the other person is thinking the same thing, and you can offer the speech that's necessary to the other person. So the next time you are in this same zone thinking about these same topics, then you will automatically know what to say and offer the language models that the late talker will be far more interested in learning, because you're literally saying what they think. And think about when you're in a conversation, how you can't help but chiming in with your perspective about the topic. When someone says literally the same thing that you are thinking, you can't help but want to chime in. This language facilitation zone is highly motivating to late talkers to want to try to speak. And so that's why it's the secret. All the prompting, non-prompting, all of that stuff, it's not going to happen unless you get in. Those things only work when you're in the language facilitation zone. So these videos that I'm going to share with you, well, let me share with you a little bit more of just a description so that you can see what it is. The language facilitation zone is the energetic space. You know, when you meet someone and you're like, this is my personal space, this is your personal space, or when you meet someone and you get a good vibe from them, or maybe a bad vibe from them, or a welcoming vibe, or an angry vibe, or whatever, you feel things, messages from people, you interpret them. And that's what happens in the language facilitation zone with everyone who communicates, every human. because we all have all these levels. In fact, like I said, so this is the space where all messages, including nonverbal communication behaviors, are both understood and responded to. Not understood and controlled, not understood and ignored, but understood and responded to. That's how communication develops. That's how late talkers learn how to talk. So messages are conveyed by late talkers, okay? Because late talkers are in the entire range. We've got a whole range from 0 to 1 to 7 in all of these areas that you can identify in the workbook. So these messages can be vocal, meaning just noises, vocal sounds, crying, screaming, that kind of thing. That's a vocal communication behavior. Verbal can be actual words that mean things, but it can also be gestalt language or echolalia or memorized scripted things. That's verbal messages. Physical messages are pushing, pulling, pointing, indicating, gestures, this kind of business. That's a physical and or visual, depending on sign language is more visual, pictures, those kinds of things. That's where pantomime gets into more physical, is I'm pushing you there to get there. Visual is I'm demonstrating for you to look at what the message is. Intuitive messages are understood and communicated. Remember, this is both understood and responded to. Intuitive messages are the ones that you know because of previous experience. I know my child always wants the blue cup because every time I give him the red one, he throws it away. And so I'm going to give him the blue cup because I intuitively know I'm going to get a better response. That's intuitive communication. Remember, you're giving this as well as receiving this in the language facilitation zone. It's not just late talkers who use this behavior. Remember, they learned it from you. Okay. Now, there also is likely a combination. And then I also talk here about telepathic communication, which a lot of people, there are millions, not millions, but many studies that prove that telepathic communication works. And if you have a late talker in your life, you know you're using this. You know, this is how you know what your late talker communicates when they do this brand new behavior you've never seen before. You're like, oh, he needs this, or oh, he wants that. That's a combination of the visual and the telepathic, because you know there's so much about this child that energetically you knew without them ever having to do or say or indicate anything. That's how you know what they want to eat. Again, that's intuitive and telepathic, and all these things happen all together with all late talkers. They use them all, and so do you. So you can think about in your life, this is again categories of communication that are all happening through the evolutionary process of shifting nonverbal communication. Babies crying, you getting indigestion. Talk about telepathic communication. You getting indigestion when your baby's in your belly because they're feeling a certain thing. You know what I mean? That's a physical communication, I guess. I don't know. How do you know? The thing is, it doesn't matter how you know. In the zone, you pay attention to what you know, and that's how you're going to do it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk first about the astrology, about why I'm talking about why this is important right now. And this week, it's a very interesting week as far as the local planetary. The sun and the moon are the big highlights this week, because Mercury's going direct, but it's still recovering area of the old moon. This is all about the moon. It's about the eclipses we had last month and going back to the eclipses we had last November, because this full moon that we've got coming up, the thing that we're in the dark period getting ready for the new moon, the big full moon in Sagittarius, we had the eclipse last November. So whatever you started, maybe even your language facilitation journey last November, you got started on projects that over this last 6 months you've been hacking through. The systems have been breaking down, and you thought you were going to do it one way and you're charting to do another way, and you're thinking and you're replanning. But this is a quiet contemplation time. We've got 3 days this week where we've got a moon void, of course, which means it's the dark moon in the dark period of the moon. It's not even interacting with any other aspects of it's just hanging out dark by itself. It's not communicating with things. Mercury's not affecting it. Mars isn't affecting it. And there's 3 days. There's one day today, actually during this video, which is why I might not get very many live viewers, and it might not even get a lot of reach because I'm doing it during the void, of course. This is when the moon is quiet and you have time. It's not affecting you and drawing you and leading you and tempting you to do things. It's time for you to think about it. We've got Saturn and Aquarius causing us to make better decisions about what we do moving forward. Before we're able to get through this, until we're out of this shadow period where Mercury's back over the moon stuff. Remember, when it decided to turn around, it was conjunct with the moon space that it was affected by. We were affected by this eclipse. So the moon is just reminding us how important our decisions are, our choices are, and that we have them. That we have choices, that we have time to think about these things. Don't rush through this period. So it happens Wednesday today. It happens again on Friday midday. It happens again on Sunday midday, an evening here, Eastern time, US. So it could happen anytime for you. Because again, these voids of courses are breakdowns in activity. It's slowing everything down, getting ready for this big, big full moon, which we've got next week on the 14th, 15th, depending on where you are. And it's the full moon in Sagittarius, and it's bright, and things are moving forward now where they weren't so much last time, and you're getting a chance to restart things. What I did last time was I started the translations of my book. So get ready. Arabic and Hindi are gonna get out here. I'm gonna get them. I've found my publishing platform that's able to tolerate these fonts. And so now I've already moved into my new place because I had that breakdown in the middle. And now I'm ready to move forward with publishing new things, and I'm making a new course for the summer. So all things are getting ready to move forward, but I'm not taking big action. I'm planning and getting my stuff together and all of my notes and making sure that everything is correct this time so that I can move forward, and it's going to go forward fast, like a slingshot. Boom. That's why your language facilitation in the zone is going to be really important right now. You've got this time this week where the moon is quiet, the outside influences are quiet, and you have a chance to connect with your late talker now. Take it. The break between school ending and summer junk starting, the break between this and that, between old activities, new activities, old therapists, new therapists, old schools, new schools, old jobs, new jobs. This is the period in the middle where we're getting the equipment we need, where we're organizing ourselves, we're making sure we're ready for the new things that we're getting ready to learn. And that's why the language facilitation zone came up to me to be a really important thing. Now, let me dig in and talk about the 3 videos this week. So this is the top 3 videos from the Waves of Communication platform that focus on, my video is not even going to work, that focus on this topic, the topic of the language facilitation zone. All right, so let's get in. I'll show you the graphics, and the links to all 3 of these videos are right here in the description of this one. So when we're done talking about this, you can go over there and watch these videos to learn how to do it. And here's the first one. What is the language facilitation zone? I gave you a very brief thing here, brief explanation here to tell you why it's so important. You can get in and watch a whole entire video to figure out what it is. The next video I have is this one, where you are going to, it's 10 tips to help parents get in the zone and find your child's speech. There's 10 ways that you can connect with them. See, look at this little guy looking at his mom. They are in the zone. He's imitating her. He wants to be like her. He's doing like her. This video is going to be a winner for you. And then this one here is what you need to do instead of speech therapy homework if you want to hear your child's natural talking. This video, low-key, kind of compares the results you're going to get if you take home a bunch of worksheets and you sit down and plan to have speech time where you sit at the table and drill your child and you have to bribe them maybe to do that, or all of those repetitive words, prompted words, say things on a schedule. The way that I guide people to work in this book, which was developed, by the way, after working with more than 100 families and never seeing their children up front. in person. I only see them on video, and I only work with the parents. And this is the process, what I put together in this book, that helped all of those parents, 98 out of 100, who the only two that it didn't work for were parents who refused to give up prompting and pleading with their kids and making them do things their way versus following the child's lead, getting in the zone. It's the two families that didn't succeed with this process out of 100 who refused to utilize this process, the language facilitation zone. Every other parent, 98%, 98 out of 100 in that real life study I did on myself. Now there are 120 families in the program, and it still continues. It's just those two original families, because now I don't even work with families until they can demonstrate to me that they can find the language facilitation zone, because you're not going to see success without it. And so I know that's how important it is. And that's why it's included in this workbook, how to find it and do whatever, okay? And why it's so important that you facilitate the language facilitation zone instead of that. So, all right, let's get out the language facilitation inspiration cards so that we can pull. I'm not seeing any comments today. So like I said, I know that I'm literally making a live video during a moon void, of course, knowing that things that happen during moon void, of course, are not going to be affected. You're not going to be affected by people. You're going to let things roll off of you. You're not going to let anybody boss you around. You're not going to let anybody tell you what to do. You're going to be diving into your own mind, your own heart, and thinking about what you want, your own emotions. So let's see what the cards say about this process of finding the zone. And, you know, what do the late talkers of the world, those kids who are not speaking yet, because you parents are just still in the process of helping them, motivate them to get to the point where they want to talk nonstop, right? Not want to be chatterboxes. Here's the card for today. It's this one. Woo! Take me shopping. Woo! I was just thinking today that I need some new shoes. So look, here's the image. Your late talker wants to equip themselves. They want to learn how to get things that they need, right? The back, this is orange process, which means that it is your plan, your action, the things that you can do. This is what you should plan in your language facilitation plan this week. It says teach about resources. So let's see if I don't know if the text is going to do. We'll just let you screenshot this. It says late talkers learn valuable language when you involve them in your process of acquiring the family's everyday necessities. Talk specifically about the items that you are lacking at home. We ran out of this. We need more of that. This is the end of the whatever, right? And talk about where and when, the whole process. It says here, where, when, how are you going to get more? What are you going to do if you need more of this and you don't have it? What are you going to do instead? Is there something you can replace it with? Is there another thing you can cook or do or be, right? Or do you have to go get it right now before you can even do this job? The job has to stop. These are the kinds of things that late talkers want to know, and you can talk about in the language facilitation zone. So discuss your decision-making process for each item when you're at the shop. Why did you pick this hammer? Why did you pick this pear? Why did you pick this egg, this brand of eggs or milk or whatever you're buying at the store? And maybe what is the thing at the store that you want available. Like we've got food shortage things going on and all over the world. Maybe you're finding that things are more expensive, things are not available, you're having to use different things than you used to use. Talk about these issues. It's not on the card, but again, everything that has to do with your process of these activities that you do in your day, this is where the source of the language comes from, because that's all the stuff that you do in the zone. You just assume the child knows they've got to sit still in the car with their seatbelt on because that's what you expect of them. But where did you ever talk to them about why and how that happens and what's so important about it? And did you ever thank them for keeping themselves safe so that you can concentrate on driving instead of them in the car? That's just one example of how you can use the language facilitation zone any time in your day to facilitate just a little spoken language about a little thing. These sessions can be 30 seconds long as you're showing your lay talker how to mix a new glass of chocolate milk for the first time, or how to lock the door and unlock the door, or whatever you want to show them, a new skill they need to learn. Some skills are learned almost immediately, especially with all of the kind of communications that the late talkers are using. Okay, so all right, not seeing any more people. Like I said, I knew that this was going to be a low view video just because the void of course, but that's okay, because I know everybody who needs to see it is going to see it, because you're going to watch on the replay, you're going to watch when you're available, you're going to watch when you need it. Now, don't forget, if you are interested in getting some feedback from me, there are multiple ways that you can do that. The easiest is join me every Thursday on live Q&A. Every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I do live Q&A where I answer questions for parents and I talk to them about the kinds of things that are going on in their lives. I also do interviews with parents. That's another way to potentially talk to me. If you have been working with me and you have seen success with your lay talker, maybe you've got them up to level 4, 5, or 6, and you want some guidance about how to help them move forward. I do individual coaching sessions on my website, and I have coaching programs where I can hold your hand. I can train you, do a short-term training where I show you exactly how to maximize all the free resources and more than 500 videos that everyone can access, in the workbooks and things like that, so that you can go out and do this yourself, or I can be your coach through the whole entire process until your lay talker's a chatterbox. You can meet with me one time, a few times, or over and over and over, as many times as you want in my coaching programs. It's all up to you. And then if you feel like you just want to ask a question, you can always comment on those Q&As and get general guidance. Many people are seeing tons of progress just by taking the initiative themselves to figure out how your training works, right? If you use these videos, just the videos that I do every week, follow the strategies, get the workbook, do it, you will be just like these folks that get it done. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow on live Q&A. Bye for now, everybody.